while all that's going on, we're still going to be working on the main viaduct bridge, because that's out here pretty much separate by itself. You've probably seen the media coverage. We're already driving Pile down there just off of West 3rd Street. We'll start building pier. You'll start to see piers coming up out of the ground at various locations. Those piers are going to go up from now through May of next year, and steel girders will start to be put on top of those piers and connected from one section to the next, beginning in December of this year and continuing on through 2012. In late fall of this year, we have to close the Abbey Avenue loop ramp that comes off of I-90 westbound. But the 14th Street ramp remains open. So there's still access from 90 West to 14th Street in Tremont. So you still have direct access off of 90 West. We have to excavate the area where this new loop ramp gets built. And we have to also begin excavating what's called the Tremont Bluff here. Everything from just beyond the Abbey ramp all the way down to the bulkhead for the river. That area has an area of soil that's not stable, and over the years it's created problems where the soil shifts, and it creates problems for everything that's built up here on top of it. So ODOT has designed a solution where all of the layers of soil are going to be cut away to bring it down to a much flatter profile down closer to the river. That will ultimately provide the opportunity for the towpath trail to be constructed down there. While we're excavating that soil, it begins this fall and continues on, continues on into winter. I want to remind you all that you're going to see this excavation happen in 3 stages. And between each stage, it has to sit untouched for 20 days. So you're going to see us all show up, we're going to excavate the heck out of the soil, haul a bunch of stuff out of there, and then we're going to go away for 3 weeks. And you're going to say, okay, that doesn't look finished, what's going on? We have to let it set between the major excavations. So I just want to warn you all that you will see those periods where there's nothing happening somewhere, and then we come back and do some more. So that takes us through 2011. When we come back with the spring, we'll be rebuilding the I-90 bridge over here, this new bridge that's going to carry the traffic over Kenilworth, the traffic of I-90 over Starkweather, and this new bridge that carries everything over Fairfield. And that's the order they'll get done as well. Kenilworth will get done first, and then Starkweather, and then Fairfield. Fairfield's a whole new bridge. We'll be working to stagger the traffic impacts so that if one of those is closed, you'll be able to get to one of the others. Obviously, there's going to be times when we have a lane restriction. If we're pouring concrete on a bridge deck overhead, we don't put traffic where we're pouring concrete. We will detour you into another lane. If we're swinging bridge girders or big heavy steel pieces, we're going to have you detour to another street probably because of the kind of radius when they're swinging that kind of equipment. But we will be providing lots of notice and all the additional details you will need to be prepared for that so that you can tell your customers, tell your trucking, tell your suppliers or your vendors what they need to do. We'll also have signage in place that will redirect the traffic to get them back on the route they need. The other thing we're doing next spring is we are going to be renovating the Abbey Avenue Bridge, making it wider to have better bike facilities, better pedestrian facilities, and better fencing. In order to do that, we have a period of about 120 days where we're going to have Abbey Avenue Bridge down to 1 lane, traveling in only one direction. So we'll spend about 60 days getting one half of it done, and then we'll move traffic onto the new stuff, and then we'll have about 60 days to get the other half done. During that time, there will be a detour to handle the traffic whichever way is not on the bridge. We have not yet determined which way is the best way to have the bridge traveling, whether it's into Tremont or away from Tremont. We're going to work on that. But long before that goes into a place, you'll all have information about what the plan is and when it's going to start. We are aware that the Cleveland Marathon runs through this area, and we will work with them so that next year's route takes into account where we're working on roadways. The other thing that's going to happen while we're doing that is this whole length of Abbey Avenue here is a full-depth reconstruction of the roadway. So you'll have new pavement all the way down, so it'll be in really good shape. You won't have pothole problems happening here on Abbey. And then there's some further roadway reconstruction, not quite full depth, that goes on a little bit farther. So you're going to have a lot of improved pavement here on your route that comes in through Abbey. Now back in downtown, summer of 2012, we're going to be working on the intersection of Carnegie and Ontario. We'll be doing that a couple of lanes at a time because we have to maintain traffic in all directions generally. And that work's going to happen between the spring and the fall of 2012. We will be closing the current Ontario on-ramp, and I believe that closes the summer of 2012 and it reopens in December. What happens in December, though, is pretty cool, because by December we will have built the new on-ramp from Ontario, and that will connect and bring you on the new bridge over to the Abbey Avenue loop ramp. So you will have the very first traffic that can use part of the new bridge will be the traffic that gets on in Ontario and comes right over to Tremont. During that time, we'll be working on installing the steel girders all across the bridge and putting the bridge deck on. We've also got, in 2013, I've got a short list of things that will be done in 2013. I don't have schedule information because that's 2 years from now. And the sequence of that work will depend a lot on how quickly this other work has gotten finished before it. With all the other ramps to 90 westbound open in downtown, we'll then close the ramp from East 9th Street and rebuild it. And there will be a new bridge that carries Carnegie over the RTA tracks up here that will be built. And there's a new pair of bridges that carries I-90 over Ontario and that carries the East 9th ramp over Ontario. That'll be built. There's a section of roadway here that's not bridge. It's actually retained fill. It's soil with retaining walls. And then the other thing that we'll be finishing up will be the roadway sections that connect the existing 90 with the new I-90. And then the other end will have the same thing have to happen to connect the existing I-90 with these new lanes of I-90. And the final step is moving the traffic onto the new bridge and closing the old one.